Welcome into another episode of What's Bruin. It's been another couple weeks here. We had the Fleet play 2 weeks ago. Yesterday we had the Bruins playing the Florida Panthers, so we delayed it an extra day. Gayle and I are back. Gayle, you excited for today's show?
Oh, absolutely. Although your sound is way off.
Oh boy, we were already having some technical issues, so we'll work on those. Benefits of a live show, am I right?
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. If I were to tell you that going into the Olympic break, the Bruins would win 10 out of 12 points, would you have taken it?
Absolutely.
Especially knowing that their opponents were Vegas, Montreal, the Rangers, Nashville, Philly, or Florida, and Tampa.
Say that again.
Especially knowing the 6 opponents that they had to face.
Right.
Which were Vegas and Montreal, two very, very good playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers, which they gave you a hard time earlier in the season. Nashville, who's been on a heater lately. Florida and Tampa. In Florida for both of them. 10 out of 12 points.
Right.
You're I don't want to say you're securely in a playoff spot, but you've got a little bit of a cushion against anybody in your own division.
Well, they have 8 points on Florida going into Florida's matchup against Tampa tonight. So, yep, I'm rooting for Tampa.
Yep, that'll be that's going to be weird to root for Tampa.
Why? Tampa's not a bad team, other than the fact that John Cooper looked like a complete idiot.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that. We've got enough. We got enough spots to start. The Stadium Series is one, but just in general, how did you think the whole event went? As an event for the league, for promoting the game, the way the Bruins entered, the way the Lightning entered, like the whole, just everything about the event. What'd you think?
So I like the Bruins dressing up as the Patriots, and I like the fact that they dressed as Patriots and not the football team. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool, but it was an ode to the football team. I love that Tampa Bay dressed up as the Buccaneers and they went old school. Just like when the Bruins went old school when they were at Fenway, they wore the throwback Red Sox jerseys. So that was nice. The rink looked great.
Yeah.
How they started it being under the greenhouse and everything like that. I thought that looked really, really good. I thought they really took a lot of time to create that space. What I thought was stupid was how the broadcast, especially, I don't know how they convinced Mark Messier to dress like that.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, I understand PK Subban because that's him. But I have no idea how they got him to dress up as a pirate and stay like that all game. And I really could have done without the intermission concert and then the conversation with Tim McGraw too. Like it's not the Super Bowl. It's hockey. Stop trying to imitate the Super Bowl.
Right. And like some of the other interviews that they did, like, why were they were interviewing a New York Yankee?
Well, to be fair, he's from Boston.
I understand why they picked.
So that made sense to me because he asked what's more weird, being from Boston and playing for the Yankees or being in Florida. It was the way the question was asked, so I didn't have a problem with that.
No, but all I'm saying is just like those were all things that, yes, it's a little nitpicky, made it a little too showman for what, like, just let the event breathe on its own.
Well, that's what I mean. Fair, it was also the highest rated NHL game ever.
But do you think that's because they did the concert with Tim McGraw? Because they interviewed?
No.
That's what I mean.
The whole picture.
Yes.
Because none of the Winter Classics, not even Boston and Montreal, pulled in those numbers.
So was it the best outdoor game ever?
I mean, if you're a fan of hockey and not a fan of the Bruins or the Lightning, if you're a fan of hockey, that was a phenomenal game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm still not sure it was the best outdoor game I've ever seen, But it was definitely better than the Winter Classic. The Winter Classic was horrible this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw why last night, given half the uniforms that they were wearing. That's a Florida half. Oh my God, burn those and never wear them again.
I had to laugh. Short Shift posted a picture. I have to find it. I was dying.
Was this when they were doing it at wearing those for the Winter Classic, or was this for last night's
No,
game?
it was last night. Hold, please. I will find it because I literally was dying when I saw this. That I had to ask Ian who. There it is. Hold on.
I was gonna say I could try and pull it up.
No, I found the tweet. Hold on. Let me share my screen now.
Let's see if we can get this pulled up. Oh yes, I did see that one.
I mean, I can't not see that now.
Yeah.
And as you can see, my reaction at the bottom, you can barely see it, but I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Like, I literally was dying when I saw that.
Yes, I did see that one. Oh, that was a good one. Just the jersey in general is just hideous.
Oh, it's awful. I mean, the cat wouldn't have been bad if it didn't have legs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Adding those legs made it absolutely horrible.
Yeah, they went and tried a little too hard on that one.
Yeah. And the stripe in the brown pants, oh, it was not a good look. And I saw a lot of people complaining about the Bruins. I like the Bruins Stadium Series jersey, and I like it with the white gloves and the pant. I like the whole thing together. I did not like Jeremy Swayman's pads.
I liked it better with Korpisalo's black pads.
So did I. I liked the dark pads I think Swayman would have been better off going with a white with a lot of yellow accents. But that yellow, because the two yellows didn't match.
Yeah, that's why it was annoying. Anyway, not the fashion police over here. They could have been a lot worse. But those Florida Panthers really can't get much worse. Exactly. I mean, but the Bruins, they come out of the Florida trip with 2 out of 4 points. Probably not how you thought they'd get there. The games themselves, we have a lot to go over.
Well, let's back up before you say that, though. They went into Florida minus their top 2 centermen.
Yes.
They went into Florida without Zacha, without Lindholm, and they came out with 2 out of the 4 points. That's a win in my book.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then obviously they were what were they? 4 on a 4-game win streak when they went into Tampa, or was it a 3-game win streak? You know what I mean? Like they're coming off of, I think it was a 3-game win streak.
Well, they had won 9 straight at home, but let me see. They won 9 straight at home, and they'd only won 2 because they lost in overtime to the Rangers. And then
that's right.
They beat Nashville and Philadelphia.
Yep, they beat
Nashville in the 5 games before heading to Tampa for the Stadium Series, they were 4-0-1.
Yes, they were playing very well. And then lose, like you said, their top 2 centers, Zacha and Lindholm, and insert Fraser Minten in a top 6 role, and Matthew Poitras gets the call up. Now, real quick, before we get too much further, today's been hilarious on social media watching people freak out because Matthew Poitras got sent down right after the game yesterday.
Right.
Didn't I tell you 3 days ago that was going to happen?
Well, most people knew it was going to happen.
No, I meant the freak out was going to happen.
No, but I mean, well, and again, most people knew that was going to happen. I saw people complaining about it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But when I saw a couple of people that cover the team for not, the Globe or anything like that, but cover the team.
Smaller outlets?
Smaller outlets saying that he deserved, and I'm like, okay, but there's a freeze in the NHL. There's no practice. There's no anything. The AHL is not on a freeze. There's games. So, and unfortunately, if Elias Lindholm and Pavel Zacha are healthy, he's not coming back.
Right. They were going to send him down when one of them got healthy anyway. And that wasn't an indictment on his play or anything. It's just now that you've seen him in a couple games, granted, very small sample size, but now that you've seen him, you can make a better decision as to what do we want to do? Is he the piece that we move because we don't see him as a long-term fit? Or now you might even be able to get it. Now that you've seen Fraser Minten do everything he's done all season, you've got a smaller sample size of Matthew Poitras with a little bit more time under his belt. Now is when you can really start to have that conversation about a player like Pavel Zacha as to whether or not you want to move on from him at the trade deadline or not. I'm in the camp of not right now, but I can still be convinced to based on the kind of return you could get for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and depending on what team and that sort of thing. So, like, if you want to tell me that we liked what we saw from Poitras, if you slide Fraser Minten into that 2C role between Casey Middlestat and Victor Arvidsson, and now you've got a little bit of a competition for that 3C role, and you want to see, we want to get Matty Poitras in there later on in the season. We'll see what, Don Zlachmelis can do. And you want to cycle some people through that position. I'm fine with that. But that means you're getting a haul for Pavel Zacha and someone who is probably coming in for that competition as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that I think is throwing a little bit more away than you really want to at this deadline. As Jason says, they built a very sneaky good young group. Absolutely. And, someone like Matty Poitras can join a playoff team and be some of the depth that they're looking for in the center position and net you a solid return piece. Now, I also wouldn't be upset if they did absolutely nothing at this trade deadline. Absolutely nothing.
So I think that I think Don Sweeney is going to, if they're still in a playoff position, he may even look at moving Arvidsson, because he's a free agent at the end of the year. He only signed a 1-year deal. So if you can move him and get something back.
But he's got a full no move clause, so he's got full control over what that.
Right, I understand that, but
so
it doesn't mean that Sweeney has not in the past worked with teams to get a player to a contender to get something back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So Arvidsson's name could be out there. You could look at the fact that if they're not going to be willing to move on from Matty Poitras and they want to keep him in the mix as maybe your 3C, that maybe they think about moving on from Corrali. Because again, it's a one, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things, but I think that you have to look at the fact that Zacha can be your 3C. He could play in between Tanner Jeannot and Mark Kastelik.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why would you move on from Pavel? And I know his stock is the highest. You know what I mean? But why would you move on for a guy that is that versatile, that can go to your top line, your second line, your third line, can play wing or center, is a PK, one of your high-rated penalty killers, and plays on the power play? So why are you moving on from him if you're in a playoff position?
I'm not actively looking.
Well, that's a lot of people like, oh, well, Pavel Zacha is going to get you the best return. Well, yes.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What is the number one team this team has? The number one need this Bruins team has right now?
Right defenseman.
Okay. If you could move, and I'm just throwing a name out there, if you could move Pavel Zacha to a team like Minnesota, and part of your return is a young right shot defenseman like David Jiricek, who's top 4 potential, you have to at least consider it.
Well, I think you have to consider everything. And that's the whole thing. Like,
Right.
people are going to call Sweeney and say, this is what we're willing to give you for Pavel Zacha. Like you said, if he's not answering the phone, he's not doing his job. So, but again, I think what people are missing is that no one expected this team to be a competitive retool.
I'm pretty sure you and I did.
Well, right. I mean, I bookmarked it. I wish I had bookmarked. I just saw Dom's comment.
I think you want to slap Dom for this one.
No, I love this comment from Dom. But seriously, I think I said it on Twitter, or one of the social media places, that I wish I had bookmarked all the people that came into my mentions telling me how much the Bruins were going to suck this year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was prevalent. It absolutely was prevalent. I love that comment, though. Dom, I have a hard time moving Zacha because what would you do if Swayman got hurt?
Yeah, I saw someone put on social media during the game last night. It's time to call up DiPietro. Why? Are you really blaming Swayman and Korpisalo for the last 2 games?
No, they just haven't watched DiPietro and seen where DiPietro's game is weak.
But
they
Korpisalo has played his best stretch of hockey.
Oh, I know.
Even Sturm admitted that he needs to give him a little bit more time on the ice, that they've been relying way too heavy on Swayman because of the condensed schedule. They need to spread it out a little bit more. If they spread it out a little bit more, you're going to see the consistency in the goaltending.
Yeah.
When they come back from this Olympic break, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit more even. Maybe Swayman gets 2 games Korpisalo, 2 games Korpisalo, instead of 4 games Korpisalo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Swayman is your number 1 starting goaltender. If he, you expect to get 55 to 60 starts out of that. That's what you're paying him for.
But this season is different than any other season because of the condensed schedule.
Oh, yeah.
In February, they have not, in any other season, they've not played 57 games.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, people seem surprised to see where Swayman's starts are going to get to. And I think when it's all said and done at the end of the year, he'll be between 55 and 60. I don't think it'll be that much of a...
If people are surprised, they're not paying attention.
Oh, I know. Dom says, Corpy has been great since I called him out. Call him out again, Dom.
Yeah, just like when Brett called out Morgan Geekie.
Jason had a good question earlier. Do you prefer Husadinov at center or at wing?
When he's out there with Fraser Minten, in those, in overtime and different stuff like that, I think it depends on who he plays with. But I kind of prefer him on the wing more than I do at center. Because when I look at this lineup, when they're healthy, I see Elias Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, Fraser Minten, Sean Corrali. That's what I see for my centers.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Because it's the same thing as Mark Kastelik. Because you have the option of putting him at the dot if you need to.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? So Husadinov can play on the wing. So I think they have enough depth at center that I'm okay with him being on the wing.
I think the question then becomes, is he your, where do you keep him in the lineup? Is he top 6 for you? Is he the third line guy? Where do you...
He's another one where he can start on the 4th line in a game and then end up on the 2nd line, the 3rd line. I think it could have, he's one of those players like Minten, and what I've seen out of Minten, what I've seen out of Husadinov, and what we've seen out of Zacha for the past few years is that they can move up and down the lineup, wing or center. So they're so versatile that it doesn't really matter where they start. It's where he ends up being more productive. Just like last night, Sturm admitted that he had put too much pressure on Fraser Minten in the last 2 games because Zacha and Elias Lindholm were out. So the amount of penalty kills, power plays, everything else that's why Middlestat took his spot
on
that
the
power play.
But you know
what I mean?
it still worked.
Right. It still worked because
ends up with
Middlestat
the goal.
scored. Right. Talk about instant gratification for making the right decision. So I think it really, he could move, and just like Jason said, he could replace Arvidsson if Arvidsson moves, Husadinov could move up to that line with Pavel, Zacha, and Casey Middlestat. You know what I mean? Because then you have 2 centers and 2 wings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't know if that's where I want him long term.
Well,
I mean, for the
no,
rest of this season, it's fine.
But again, we don't know what next season looks like. So right now, we only care about right now. Let's stop looking next season when we don't even know. God forbid someone gets hurt in the Olympics.
Swayman. What do you do if Swayman gets hurt?
McAvoy. Holy crap.
Oh, I know. Especially after the hit. Well, I mean, at least he'll be on Matt Kachuk's team.
That doesn't mean anything.
He won't get a cheap shot from a Kachuk.
You never know.
Right? You might get one from a Bennett. Actually, no, because he's not even going anymore. He just got replaced today. Seth Jarvis is going in place.
No, he's not. That was Braden Point.
Oh, no.
Seth Jarvis is replacing Point.
Oh, no, it was Cirelli, I think. I don't know. Bennett is going.
Yeah, Bennett's going.
It was Cirelli that I was thinking of originally. And then, but Point is the one who just got replaced today. So,
yeah.
And Dom saying, I like Husadinov, but Sturm should have swapped him and Poitras in the third yesterday. There's a lot of things, or not necessarily a lot, but there are a few things that I think we're watching Sturm learn on the job for. Yeah, thank you, Kate. Just put it in the comments. Jarvis is replacing Point. Bennett is replacing Cirelli. That's where my brain messed it all up. I know you said it too. But I really felt like in the Stadium Series, I think I can understand why he didn't call a timeout. But I think as that game is getting away from you, once it becomes 5-3, that he should have taken a timeout.
I mean, the thing is, though, is that you have 4 of your players in the box.
I understand that. Between the penalty kills that you were actively in the middle of and the fact that the period was ending right around the corner, like you're just trying to get to that intermission to then basically say to them in the intermission what you would have said during the timeout.
Right. So why burn your timeout?
I get it, but the problem is some of your guys, and the ones that stood out to me, Charlie McAvoy was the key point of this, but Mark Kostelic was also doing it. There was a little bit from Sean Corrali as well. They weren't I'm not even I agree. The officials were terrible. Overall, it's been a bad couple days for the Bruins when it comes to the officiating that they've received in their games. I agree. But on the ice, you have to move on quicker than they did. Because there are going to be calls that get missed. It happens every game. You're going to get bad calls against you. The other team's going to get bad calls against them. Officials are going to make mistakes. You can't let it get you off of your game to the tune where you give up a 4-goal lead.
They couldn't get their game because they were in the box. There's a difference there.
But think about some of the penalties that they... Whoop. Do I still got you? I don't know.
You disappeared.
Something happened with my internet or something. I don't know. It just said I was disconnected for a second. I don't even know where... Oh, giving up the lead like that. Sean Corrali covering the puck the way he did. I don't care if they missed an interference or a trip or anything like that. That's what the fuck are you thinking? That's a penalty all day long. I'm not going to sit here and give Swayman crap for, whacking the puck into the stands because that was clearly an accident and shit happens. But Mark Kostelic, after the goal, cross-checking, come on, man. You got to keep your head on that. That's going to get called every single time. And I don't care if you think someone else should have got called after the scrum and all that.
It's funny.
All that's
It's
going
funny
to
because you
do
say
is
that.
give you two
Wait, hold on.
minors that match.
You say that it's going to be called every single time, but that's bullshit because last night Matthew Tkachuk cross-checked Aspero in the back after Florida scored, no call. So bullshit.
Hold on.
It's going to get called every time.
It's going to get called every time because you've already pissed off the refs whining and bitching about their other calls.
No.
They walked into a call like that.
It shouldn't be. It was the same crew. It shouldn't be called in one game and not in another.
Hold on. What did I start off by saying? Bad officiating in the last 2 games across the board.
But you can't call out Mark Kastelik for that when everyone in the
you have to play
league
the game the officials are playing.
Huh?
You have to.
No.
You have to. Your job as a coach is to make sure when you recognize that calls aren't going in your favor, that you slow your team down and say, listen, I don't give a fuck how bad these refs are.
No, because
we have to win
slow
these
the game
games
down against a team like Tampa Bay, they're going to run over you anyways.
You take a timeout. All right? You regather your head. That's what they needed to do. And he didn't do that. Again, after the first goal, even after the second goal, once it became a 5-3 game or a 5-4 game, you had to have that reset. And I understand it was 5-4 right before they were going into the period break. But then they come out again on, and I know last night they came out on a very weak power play. The Zadorov slash, which was a petty call by the officials. When the officials are being petty, you can't play into their hands. You just can't. You can't give them anything to just say, well, screw you. All right? And again, the officials, how bad they were was amplified 1,000 times because of how badly they blew the whistle on the overtime penalty against David Pastrnak. All right? The guy doesn't even put the whistle in his mouth until Minten is at the center line. All right? You can see that from the head on, essentially the end zone.
Well, yes, his arm was in the air as soon as it happened.
Right. But the fact
why
that
they didn't blow the play dead, I have no idea. But his arm was up immediately.
But that's one of those moments where, as a head coach, you need to be able to tell your team, let the incompetency of the official speak for itself. You cannot buy into it and bitch, piss, and moan about the bad officiating to the people who are calling it poorly. Worry about winning the game, especially when you already have a lead. If you came out and you dominated them 5-on-5, all right? The way you played against Tampa Bay 5-on-5, you proved you can compete with any team. You can. It's just a matter of, are things going to go in your favor when they get bad? Or are you going to find a way to reel them back in when they're not going your way? And what they proved in both of these games is they might not be able to maintain their composure when it matters most if something doesn't go their way. That's what they proved. And what Marco Stern proved is he doesn't have the pulse yet. He doesn't have that ability to recognize that, call the timeout, and turn things around. Like that's something he has to learn as a coach.
I wouldn't say last night because the Bruins only gave Florida 2 power plays.
No, last night wasn't as bad. In fact, you kind of got away with a lot more in yesterday's game. But Sunday, again, I'm not defending the officials. What I'm saying is when the officials are going off the way they should, from how they should be calling the game, you have to, as a team, recognize that and not make them want to give petty calls. Because every single call they made was a penalty that you took. They didn't call something against you that, it's not like
It's not
They
like
called you for a trip and you didn't trip someone.
Chris, it's not like the Bruins have played disciplined all season long and this was something new. They're penalized the most out of every single team in the league.
Right.
This is
so the
nothing
officials
new.
are looking at it that much harder.
But
They're
this is
looking
nothing
to call
new.
you.
But this is nothing new. It's not like the refs were out to get them.
What I'm saying is the refs are looking at every little thing you do because you're the most penalized team in the league. So you cannot give them more reason to want to call things against you by bitching at them.
Of course they should bitch at them. Are you kidding me?
Let your head coach, let your general manager, let them do that.
You know what?
Players, handle it on the ice.
Bullshit. You don't think that the players had a right to say something to the refs after the hit last night on Chucky?
I'm saying you can't dwell on it for the entirety of the game.
But they didn't dwell on it for the entirety of the game.
They did.
No.
They absolutely did. You
against Charlie Florida? No,
against
they did
both.
not.
Against both. Didn't. Florida, they held their own better. Florida, there was certainly improvements in this area. Between the two games, they were much better at it in Florida than they were on in last night's game against Florida than they were against Tampa. 100%. There was a massive improvement. But the Stadium Series game against Tampa Bay, they couldn't let a damn thing go. They dwelled on it to the tune of giving up a 4-goal lead.
They didn't dwell on it complaining to the refs as much as you think they did.
They were bitching about it in the locker room after the game.
Of course they got to bitch about it in the locker room after the game. There were 4 Bruins in the box at once.
And who put them there?
Not all of it should have been just the Bruins.
I agree with you.
If you go back and look at it, number one. Number two, though, the point is that the NHL is the only league that there's a mandate you can't call out the refs. Fuck that.
Oh, that's a bullshit rule in the beginning. I agree with that, 100%. And the refs need to come out and deal with their own media scrutiny. That's a whole different part of the conversation. I'm talking about the guys on the ice who didn't let things go in the moment to the tune of losing their heads and losing the game. That's what I'm talking about. The problem
with that, though, Chris, is because of the fact that the penalties were back to back to back. There was, when you're playing shorthanded, you're tired, you're aggravated, you're trying to get your game back, but you're in the box, so your star players are on the freaking bench.
They got lucky. Both teams got lucky that neither goaltender got thrown out because there was no other fight. If any other fight breaks out, both starting goaltenders are tossed from that game.
Understood.
All right.
But Vasilevsky should have got the extra for crossing the center line, and he didn't.
They both got penalties for crossing the center line. They both got penalties for leaving the crease. They got coinciding matching 2-minute minors for leaving the crease and coinciding matching majors 5 minutes for fighting. Those evened out, and it was correctly called against the two goaltenders for the fighting. Now, you could make the case that Jeremy Swayman should have gotten an extra 2 for roughing for the guy he punched in the face before he skates out to fight Vasilevsky. They got lucky on that one. So if you want to complain that Vasilevsky didn't get called for the 2 minutes for crossing the center line, which there is no actual penalty. The penalty is for leaving the crease. But if you want to complain about that, then Tampa has a right to complain that that Swayman doesn't get the extra 2 for the roughing by punching their other guy in the face before he skates for the fight. Those ones were both not called. It's a wash at that point. But when you're still serving those penalties for Mark Kastelik to get the cross check after the goal, you cannot do that. I don't care that it's not called in another game or anything like that.
I don't care. See, I don't care. Him doing that cross check in that moment, to me, that wasn't the one that bothered me.
It's losing his head.
No.
That's the part that bothered me.
No.
Absolutely it was.
They always do that in the crease. That is nothing new.
This wasn't in the crease, though. This was behind the goal line. Cross checks him into the boards. Borderline boarding. All right? It was a horrible move to make, completely away from the net. It wasn't something that happened in the crease. It wasn't an in-goal scrum kind of thing. This was he's skating around. You skate around behind him, cross-check him in the back of the numbers. It was fucking stupid, and he should have been called for it. He never should have done
called
that.
for it.
Exactly.
All of the penalties that they got called for were warranted. It's not like they were phantom calls.
My point is that was a stupid penalty to take. He never should have done that.
They all are. Swayman had to get his goalie fight. That was a stupid penalty to take. And everyone's like, oh, don't bitch about that. We never get to see goalie fights. There's a reason for that.
So what you're saying is they took all stupid penalties. Okay, so to my point, if you can't stop taking stupid penalties, you can't keep your fucking composure. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But they've been doing this since October. This is nothing new. This is nothing new.
No, it's not. That's the problem. But the problem I have, which is what started this whole thing, is Marco Sturm does not have a finger on the pulse as to when to call that timeout. As the head coach, he needs to call a timeout in that moment and say, guys, we have a 5-1 lead. Now it's 5-2. Now it's 5-3. This game is getting away from us. You want to kick their ass, take over first place in the division, and beat them right now. Take the division from them. That'll be more humiliating than anything else from this game. Florida, you want to beat them? Guess what? If you beat them if you don't even let that game get to overtime, if you're able to win that game in regulation, you essentially knock them out of the playoffs. You want to get them back? You want to make them look like shit? Knock their ass out of the playoffs. All you needed was the extra point and to not let them get one. And they're effectively eliminated. And at that point, they will have lost crucial games to you, Buffalo, Montreal, and even to Toronto they've lost. And you get to be the dagger. Because guess what? As soon as they're eliminated from the playoffs and you play them again, they're going to not go down without a fight. And they're going to try and drag you in the mud too. You can't let them. They're not in the playoffs. Make sure of that. That's the bigger picture. Let's get back to some of these comments here. Let's see. Dom says the most important question right there is who's coaching the PK, because some people say Leach and others say Kelly.
If you look at the past few games when there has been timeouts called by either team and the Bruins are shorthanded, whether it be with the opposing team with the goalie pulled or on the PK, Leach is the one with the board.
Yeah. Let's see. Jason says, good question. I'd like to see Sturm bring in his own guys. I mean, so far, that Steve Spott hire for him is really paying off.
But you know what? You can't. The thing is that the PK is getting killed, but you also have to look at who's been missing from the PK as well.
Lindholm and Zacha.
Well, not only that, but if you look at starting at the beginning of the season, who's your top defenseman on the PK?
McAvoy.
Right. He was injured for part, you know what I mean? Took he was out. Hampus Lindholm was also out.
Yep.
And then 9 times out of 10, your other defenseman who you want on the ice is Zadorov, but he's the one in the box. Then you've got Zacha, who's been injured in and out of the lineup. Lindholm has been injured in and out of the lineup.
This is why they need that top right shot defense.
So, but when you look at your PK, that leaves you with Corrali and Kastelik as your top centers on the PK.
Yeah.
And it leaves you who for defensemen?
I mean, at that point, you're looking at Andrew Peak. You're looking at whoever's not in the box, if it's a defenseman in there.
And yes, Dom, the PK was good to start the year until the injuries started happening. And then they started.
That right there shows that it may not necessarily be the coaching, because as soon as the injuries happen to those crucial guys, like when it was McAvoy out, you had Lindholm still. Then Lindholm goes down. Then McAvoy goes down.
McAvoy and Lindholm missed some time together too.
Yep. Then they overlapped a little bit. And now that you have McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm, you don't have Elias or Zacha. So now you're missing two of the top penalty killers from the forward group.
Right.
And so with all that, yeah, as Timothy points out, when you're stuck on the PK that much, it screws with your lines. Because Geeky's not on the ice, Pasternak's not on the ice. You're not going to get Poitras on the ice, and you're barely going to get Fraser Minten on the ice. And yes, I'm putting Zacha, Minten and Poitras on that list because, one, those were some of the guys that were available for you.
Husnudinov.
I think you could put Husnudinov on the PK at this point.
He has been on the PK.
I think you could put him on there full time, though.
Not when you have Zacha and Lindholm.
Second unit.
No, because then you have Corrali and Kastelik. You're missing the whole point. You have Corrali and Kastelik, Zacha and Lindholm. Those are your four best defensive forwards.
Yeah, I think you should be. I think based on the way this team plays, you need to be able to roll a third unit out there.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, those are your top four options. When they're healthy, those are your top four options. Just like your defensive, your top four options are McAvoy, Lindholm, Zadorov, and I don't even know who your other top
That's it. You don't have a fourth option. You need to go get it, is what it is. Right now, you use Andrew Peeke in that role.
We'll have to actually wait and see what Jordan Harris does when he comes back. Because
what I'm saying is right now,
he's going to be back after the break.
Yeah, what I'm saying is right now, you don't have that option. But until you see what Jordan Harris can do when he comes back, who knows? Maybe he fills in similar to the way Jonathan Aspero has. You're able to move Aspero over, and he fills in your top four. But who knows? We got to see it first.
And Timothy, to your point where he says, I think they played well considering they were missing their top two centers. I said that for them to come out of Florida and Tampa with 2 points without their top two centers is huge. It's been and everyone expected them to lose both games outright and have the 8-point swing, but instead they came out with 2 points. So
yeah, and as he says, I totally agree. Last year they lose both those games in regulation.
Yeah,
100%. Let me just get back to where we were here. Last night it was the lunacy of the headshot on Chucky. It was awful. I mean, the fact that they don't do anything about that headshot, there's no supplemental discipline, no nothing. I mean, that's just...
The fact that Florida ended up with the power play after that, that's what really got me. The fact that they didn't call it a major to give themselves the opportunity to review it, and then Florida ends up with the power play because the bench had the gall to call out the refs for the headshot. And so they gave the bench an unsportsmanlike conduct, which I'm sorry, I will 100% take that unsportsmanlike conduct every single game if my players get knocked out with a headshot.
Absolutely. That's one of those moments where I sit there and I go, I think he learned a little bit from not using that timeout, because that's a moment where Marco Sturm stepped up, defended his player in that moment, and that's a penalty I don't care that he took. I care more that he didn't take the timeout in the Tampa game to regather his team, but that's a moment where you're leading your team and showing as their leader, I'm going to have your back against this kind of thing. And also that's him stepping up going, let me do this. Let me get the stupid penalty, around air quotes around that, with the official. Let me show everybody how petty and dumb this officiating crew is being by getting the penalty for calling them out. Don't you do it. Let me do it. He took the bullet on that one, as he should have. Mm-hmm. So I think that was him learning a little bit from the moment that he didn't take the timeout on Sunday.
I don't think it's I think that you're not giving Sturm enough credit.
No, I think he's just learning as a first-year head coach in the National Hockey League. I'm not saying that he's bad. All I'm saying is there are certain times where he shows that he's a
Right,
rookie
because
head coach.
Claude Julien was the coach for how many years? And there were times where you went, how come he didn't call a timeout? Or why isn't he changing this? Or why isn't he changing that? It's not a matter of learning. It's just a matter of what they're feeling. You don't know what he was saying to the guys on the bench. You don't know what Spot was saying. You don't know what Chris Kelly was saying. You don't know what the players were saying to each other. He may not have felt at 16 minutes left in the period when they were still at, had a 2-goal lead, that he was like, you know what? Let's stay out of the box. We're good. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So you don't know.
But if he is saying that stuff on the bench, right? And then they continue to play the way they're playing, the message isn't getting through. It means they're not listening to what he's saying while they are on the bench.
I disagree. Because I think sometimes when you're on the ice, it's not the fact that they're tuning him out or they're not listening to him. It's when you're on the ice, and I'm sorry, but have you ever played an NHL game? Because I certainly haven't. So I don't know what the pressure is of being on the ice. And, when you're playing a hard defensive game and you're chasing because you're in the penalty box half the night, so your star forwards aren't getting the ice time that they should, and you take another stupid penalty, it's not because they're mentally shut down. It's because they're trying to overcome the obstacle and they're trying too hard. And I don't think that's a fault on Sturm at all.
No, what I'm saying is they're not in the right headspace. Dom says, do we know if it was something Sturm said or was it a player?
I don't think it was specified.
I don't think they knew at the time. I'm not sure.
It could have been multiple. It could have been David Pastrnak. It could have been Nikita Zadorov, because Zadorov wasn't on the ice. It could have been Sturm. It could have been Chris Kelly. It could have been anyone from the bench. It could have been 5 people from the bench all saying the same thing.
Yeah, and Kendall, couple comments. Unnecessary penalties. They need to stop. Love Sturm's coaching in a lot of ways, but if they don't clean that up, their undisciplined calls will cost them in the playoffs. And then the constant bitching and crying only makes it worse. They were really bad calls, but they need to be able to move on quicker. Dom says when Swayman jumped the Tampa player, he could have been suspended. There's a rule in the NHL that's never called that says if you punch a player with a glove or blocker, you can be suspended. So yes, that is that is definitely something they got lucky for as well. I like Timothy's comment. This is like a fight between a man and a wife who gets to wash and who gets to dry the dishes. Good discussion. But at least it's a good discussion. Then points out Julien once said sometimes rather than a timeout, you have to let them work their way out of it. Maybe that's what Marco thinks more often than not.
Well, I mean, Marco did play for Julien, so you never know.
Again, it's possible, but I'm just saying, like, clearly right now from the evidence in front of us in these 2 games, this isn't a team that you can let play through. You have to use that timeout. So, let's see. All the refs are from Toronto. That's the problem. Haters. Yeah, it could be. What would Harry
Speaking of Toronto?
Oh boy.
Speaking of Toronto, let's talk about Steve Dangle.
Dude, when he comes out in support of the Bruins, you know the refs fucked up.
Yeah.
That's that pulse right there is all you need to know.
Yeah.
When you get Toronto fans going, yeah, the Bruins got screwed on that one.
Montreal fans were coming out and saying that the Bruins got screwed.
Yeah.
The whole league, other than Florida fans, realized that the Bruins got screwed. Dom, thank you, because I'm thinking the same exact thing.
One more time. I'm putting him in timeout. Anyway. What else you got?
Hold on. I got this.
Let's see. Gayle slaps Tom. Gayle slaps Chris. Gayle slaps Chris. Gayle slaps. Nice.
Yeah. So.
And yes, Timothy is right here. The NHL looks weak when they say they want to end headshots once again.
So the funny thing is that the whole reason why the league said they were going to look at headshots were because of Marc Savard and Patrice Bergeron. But for some reason, ever since then, every time a Bruins player is hit in the head, it's let's move on.
Now, because McAvoy returned to the game.
Doesn't matter.
No,
he was only saved because he had that bubble on.
100% agree. But because he returned to the game.
Doesn't matter. Still a headshot.
It's still a headshot. It still should have been 5 in a game.
Mm-hmm.
But withstanding that.
I don't give a shit that he returned to the game. It was a fucking headshot.
If he gets the call right on the ice, the 5-minute major and the game misconduct, and he's tossed, are you less upset that there's no supplemental discipline after the fact?
Absolutely not.
Because he returned to the game?
Absolutely not. It's still a freaking headshot. And until you send them message and actually suspend a Florida Panther for a headshot, they're going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, where's the suspension, as Timothy says? He leaves his. It's textbook. It's textbook. Honestly, ever since I was a big fan of the Department of Player Safety when Brendan Shanahan was leading it, and he made sure there was a video out for everything. Even if they didn't suspend a player or they fined him, they still processed the video.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since he left, those videos have stopped. The accountability is gone. Even if you didn't agree with a call, at least they broke down why they called it the way they did. And they stood behind it.
Well, so my other problem is that even Tampa Bay fans, because Florida's playing Tampa Bay tonight, they're all like, sit Hagel. Because they know that Florida is going to be headhunting again.
Yeah, Tampa's up 1-0 right now in that one, by the way.
But all the Tampa fans are like, please don't risk injury, sit Hagel. And if I'm Tampa, I'm like, I'm top of the standings. It's the night before the Olympic break. Maybe I do sit Hagel.
There was a comment earlier that I was going to pull up too about the Bruins needing someone to call up when they play. Like, just they need someone to goon it up with in Florida and whatnot. Yeah, and I like Ian's comment here. If that hit was on McDavid, would there be a different outcome? Absolutely.
Because how many headshots did Edmonton take in the past 2 Stanley Cup finals?
Yeah, but still, if that happens...
It's Florida. It's Florida. I disagree with you. It's Florida.
Soros, yeah. George Parros.
Disagree with you. It's Florida.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It depends on who the hitter is. Because it's Florida, you're right. It's probably not any different. However, if this happens in a Dallas versus Edmonton game against Connor McDavid, there's absolutely a suspension incoming.
If it's a Bruin player hitting a Florida player, there's a suspension coming.
Oh, yeah.
If it's Tampa Bay hitting a Vegas player, there's a suspension coming. If any other team but Florida, and possibly Vegas, because they have a thing for Vegas as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see. Getting excited about Hagen's play. This kid has the speed, deception, and wicked shot. Yeah, I know. There was another one back here from Dom that I want to bring up too, but go ahead.
So, all right. So we talked about the PK issues. We talked about the penalties. But I want to talk about Sturm's comments to the media. So last year and the year before, Jim Montgomery didn't say boo about the officiating, about plays, about anything.
Yeah.
Right? And neither did Joe Sacco. Twice in the past 2 games, Sturm has said something.
Mm-hmm.
His comments last night, I love his comments last night. I have to find them. Hold on. Hold that thought. It shouldn't take me too long.
No, that's fine. I'm just looking through some of the comments. We got some people agreeing Florida, Vegas. Aaron says NHL's golden children. Timothy adds if it was Marchand as a Bruin versus Florida, it's totally a suspension. If they won't call it, target their stars the same way. The problem is, Jason, they will call it against you. So that's the problem.
And no offense, I don't want anyone run at like that, because I don't want them to do it to like, I don't believe, like, I'm still pissed off that Cam Neely's career got ended because of a dirty play. I don't want to see, you know, I'm still pissed off that Mark Savard's career got ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we can be upset about Matt Cook ending Mark Savard's career, but that doesn't mean you go out and root for someone to do the same thing to Matt Cook.
Right. Yeah, you
two wrongs don't make a right there.
You drop the gloves and you send a message. But
yeah,
taking out Sidney Crosby, taking out, I mean, if someone wants to take out Matthew Tkachuk or Sam Bennett, I may not complain that much, but
doesn't mean you're rooting for it. You're not putting a bounty on their head.
Right. So Marco Sturm post game, I'm here to protect my guys, especially Charlie. And if you target his head, it was clear to see, and that just pisses me off. I don't know what to say. It was a brutal hit. Everyone saw it. Obviously have the opportunity to look at the replay. To come out with a 4-on-4, which they didn't come out with a 4-on-4. Oh, you know what? That's why he complained. Because they came out with the 4-on-4, and that's why Sturm went nutty. Because
I think that tells us right then and there that it was something Sturm said.
Right.
And then Dom says Montgomery didn't say boo because he would have scared himself.
That's true.
Probably. I gotta say I love Kenny in the comments jumping in. Sweeney is a moron. Can't believe Poitras got sent down. Just because I know he's being sarcastic about it.
Kenny, you just missed. I shared my screen.
Yeah, she pulled up your comment about how many times she's going to slap me. So.
Because we were fighting like cats and dogs earlier. Even my husband sent me a text. You're very loud. I was sitting upstairs in my office and he's downstairs watching TV and he sent me a message. You're very loud. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, we're a little quieter now. A little quieter.
Yeah, because we're not arguing anymore. So let's talk about Marchand since someone brought him up.
Sure. What do you want to say about him?
I was so pissed last night that he was the one that had the game-winning shootout goal.
He's the only one who went backhand on Korpisalo.
I was so pissed, though. Like, literally, I think my response was, fuck off.
Oh, as soon as he scored, you knew it was going to be one of those things. Are you mad that are you – how do you feel about how Sturm handles the shootout and his shootout lineup?
You know what? I don't know, because the Bruins suck at the shootout anyways, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
The Bruins suck at the shootout.
Tampa's up 2-0 now.
I mean, Mikey Easimont last night looked like he should have been in the shootout.
Oh, my God. The patience he showed on that second goal was fire. Oh, my God. It was great.
I'm like, do you put him in the shootout? Like, I don't even know, but I didn't really understand McAvoy in the shootout over Pasta or Geeky.
I think the mindset behind it was McAvoy's so pissed off about that hit. See if he can go and he was your second shooter, if I remember correctly, right? Was that the order? Was he second?
I think
Or
so.
was he? So, like, if you need to make up for it later on, you still have some of your stronger shooters. You still had Pastrnak in the hopper. You still had
but my point, but Korpisalo had already stopped the first two shooters, so why aren't you putting out your stars to try and win the game?
I mean, at some point, you're going to have to shoot a weaker player. And so
right. But that's
if
what
that starts with McAvoy.
But no, I would have put out like a Husadinov, you know what I mean, instead of McAvoy. It's no offense. I love Mac.
I
Don't
agree.
get me wrong. I absolutely love Mac. But I'd rather see Husadinov in that role. I'd rather see Sean Corrali in that role than Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to try and go, because again, how many times have we seen him go off of a vibes pick? In the shootout?
Yes, and at the last Fleet game, Chris Spar waited till the 7th round to put in Alina Mueller, and she undressed the goalie. So I mean,
right? It's one of those things where I think at that point you were tied in the shootout, 1 goal apiece. And so you were trying to use his emotion to maybe get that lead. It didn't work. Once Marchand scored, then you already probably had selected Casey Middlestad, so you couldn't really come off of that. But I think if you had it to do over again, you're going to go Middlestad, then Pastrnak, and save McAvoy. But I mean, it's still not as questionable as picking Andrew Peeke. All right, I'd much rather see Charlie McAvoy in that situation.
Yeah, but you know what? I remember questioning Claude Julien when he put Zdeno Chara up for a shootout once.
Yeah, well, and again, they're going to have to go eventually if the shootout goes long enough. So, let's see. Isn't that funny now that Marchand isn't on Boston? He isn't called a rat anymore. Florida runs the league.
It's really funny, Timothy. I want to comment on that. Like, every single Florida fan that came in my mentions today that told me that I need to watch soccer or learn how to knit or that I'm new, that I know nothing about hockey. All those fun comments that I dealt with today. All they kept saying was defending Florida and not saying a word about Brad. And I'm thinking to myself, but last year, prior to the trade, all you did was complain about Brad Marchand. If your team got called for something, but Brad Marchand did that 17 years ago.
Yeah. Sorry. Ian says white girls are undressing during female hockey. I need to give that league a look. But I like Dom's comment better. Wait, Kenny Poitras got sent down. I'm heading your way to riot with you. Oh, man. Dom mentions DiPietro was named goaltender of the month. Let's see. Kenny says that he and Potheads are about
Fraser
to riot.
Rookie of the month.
Yes. Ian's comment, the way Toronto fans are crashing out over Fraser Minten makes me want to buy his jersey. Absolutely. But we have the leader of the Potheads. Kenny has jumped on to join us for a little bit.
Hi, Kenny.
Hi. I'm so excited.
How are you?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, he's gonna go get it, I think.
Because I didn't even get a thank you.
He did get it. I assure you, he got it.
Oh, here we go. Gayle's the best. Gayle is the best. So I got my hat. I was looking stylish in the press box with this on. This was fantastic.
Awesome. I love it.
Look at this. Oh, and she throws the hearts up. Gotta love it. Yeah. No. Crazy.
Great transition though to Dom's comment here. DiPietro was named goaltender of the month. Kenny, I know you're doing a lot with the American Hockey League, and I know the Bridgeport Islanders have a great young goaltender. But let's be honest, it's DiPietro or nothing, right?
DiPietro just made 36 of 37 saves yesterday on Bridgeport and won. So yeah, not shocking. I mean, that he's like one of the only goalies in the league. Him and Sebastian Kosa are two of the only people that can actually like completely win your team games. Like, you know, you could have good goalies, and Bridgeport has 3 really good goalies. Even Jeremy Smith just came back after over 2,000 days of not playing in the AHL and just won a game. But yeah, no, DiPietro, unbelievable. He's even better than last year. Of course, I leave, and then Providence decides that they want to start being good. So, unbelievable.
Yeah, not just good, dominant.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Providence is like 17-1 in the last 18 games against Bridgeport. So talk about kryptonite.
Yeah, it's been brutal.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Poitras got sent down. I so many people weren't expecting it.
No, I got on Twitter this morning and I was like, oh, I'm gonna write some nasty tweets about Sweeney. Like, I already knew it. Like, I knew it. I was so excited. I was so excited. Yeah, we have a fan club.
To catch? I know you were at the Bridgeport game the last couple times they've been playing. I don't know how much of last night's game you were able to catch against Florida or the Stadium Series against Tampa.
Well, first I gotta say the only thing that I caught last night was the stuff that you were sending me. I mean, if you want to get into it here, like how could you not, like, how many checkpoints do we have for player safety? And jumps up, leaves his feet, has his elbow up, hits him in the head, player's injured. I mean, what more do we need here?
Well, especially because, Kenny, what I said earlier to Chris, the fact that Charlie McAvoy was wearing the bubble is the only thing that saved him. He would have been out of the game and probably not heading to Italy if he had not been wearing a bubble.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and I know that probably player safety, and I was listening to the eye test the other day, and they were talking about this, where it's like if somebody gets suspended and it goes into that break or the Olympic break and they're playing in the Olympics, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're suspended for the Olympics. The IIHF puts a review or something like that. And
I would be fine if they play. I don't care. The NHL rules is they're suspended for the NHL, not for the Olympics. But what I'm saying is Charlie McAvoy, the only thing that saved him last night from not missing the Olympics is the fact that he was wearing a bubble.
And all that, it's just like, this wasn't like a freak thing. This was completely intentional, coming through the center. Like, you come on, like, listen, I played hockey. Like, I get it. You're upset. And I've seen plays like this all the time. But come on, like, you leave your feet and you chicken wing. Like, dude, you're trying to end somebody's career.
You're not allowed to say leave your feet. I got schooled on Twitter today, being told that I'm a new hockey fan because I said leave his feet. That I learned hockey from the internet.
Like,
what
do you want to call it? He jumped. He left his feet.
What else are you supposed to say? He left
his feet left the ice by 5 inches just so he could knock McAvoy in the head.
I mean, but like
it's the only way he could reach him even with the chicken wing out.
Right.
No.
And apparently, Kenny, you're already commissioner.
I know. Me in this hat, I feel like I could rule the world here. So, put me at
captain of the National Hockey League.
Absolutely.
With that hat on.
Absolutely.
Mine's on my credenza behind me.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, and I know I sent you a text when it happened, Gayle, but last night, can we talk for a minute about Marat Husnudinov?
What about him?
First of all, that back check in overtime.
Oh yeah.
And
well, it was funny because you were talking about Poitras, and I got sidetracked because I wanted to talk about Husnudinov because I completely missed your Poitras, and then I was like, "Oh crap!" And then you said something about, and I'm like, "I totally missed my conversation."
Let's see. Dom says, "I think McAvoy hurt the Panthers' elbow, and that's why he didn't return."
Right.
He also hurt his ego a little bit because he did.
I think Paul Maurice went, "I don't want my player to answer to Nikita Zadorov."
Yeah, no, straight up he went, "I don't want my guy killed."
Yeah.
I mean, as it was, Jeannot mollywopped AJ Greer.
I was so happy. I think I actually said, I never want to see a former Bruin pummeled, but that really got me in all my feels. That really got me in all my feels. Because you know what? AJ Greer, always tries to take on the smaller player, and he got outclassed last night.
The only other fight that I might have rather have seen is if it was Zadorov going after him. But AJ Greer would have backed down. That's the thing. Is it never would have become what it was.
That's like Zdeno Chara whipping around Mitch Marner.
Anyway.
Well, actually, hold on. I will say, McAvoy can get his get back. Team USA plays Latvia, the first game of the Olympics? I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I don't think McAvoy's going to risk his Olympic opportunity considering he missed the rest of Four Nations. And
doesn't mean he won't lay a nice hit on him.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure he'll lay a nice hit. But, it's going to be funny is seeing Tkachuk do it.
Tkachuk won't do it. He'll make McAvoy do it. That's the thing. But it's funny because actually the three of us always have this conversation about young players trying to break into the NHL.
Right.
The questions that we're always asking about whether or not they should be in the lineup. And Kenny, you and I had a conversation about, specifically it was Matthew Poitras being NHL ready and his development. But Gayle, the two questions that you and I always ask, who are they bumping out of the lineup?
Yeah.
And when they're not scoring, what else do they bring to the lineup? And what we saw from Marat Hustadinov last night was everything else that he brings to the lineup except for scoring.
Correct.
And I think I talked to both of you about it. I think it was in December when I said I still wasn't sure about Marat Hustadinov and where he fits long term on this team.
Oh yeah, because I fought you on that one. Shocker, I fought you on something. You and I didn't see eye to eye.
That might have been the one that Kenny commented about all those times that you were going to slap me.
No, that was you talking about Swayman getting hurt.
Oh yeah.
What if Swayman gets hurt?
Yeah, the hypotheticals. I remember that.
The what if?
I got to show you Dom's comment about it earlier.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
But with Marat Hustadinov, he is now not only has he earned a spot on this team, he has earned a spot on this team so firmly that you find a spot to put him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's done, and that's what he did yesterday.
But him and Fraser Minten have both done that. You can put them up and down the lineup, and they're going to drive a play.
The difference with Hustadinov, though, is I'm sure Fraser Minten would step up if he was called on to play wing. But with Hustadinov, you can move him anywhere. Mm-hmm. There are 12 spots on that roster for a game day lineup, and you can put him 1 through 12 and know what you're going to get from him. Because my only concern was scoring. Does he bring enough other than the scoring? And yes, he does. Mm-hmm. I do think he's going to end up being a penalty killer for this team. And a damn good one at that. So there was, let's see. Ian says, hey, Gayle, Charlie McAvoy will bring his feet on the payback hit. I learned hockey from that hater online. And yes, leaving your feet used to be called charging.
Right.
I think Hustadinov has one more year. Yeah, he's still under contract for next season. But he is definitely proving to be someone that you hang on to.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find that Dom's comment earlier about
that was almost right at the beginning.
I know. And the thing keeps jumping back. Oh yeah, right here. I have a hard time moving Pavel Zacha because what would you do if Swayman gets hurt?
And he's not amused.
No, well, now I'm here, so I can't really comment anything in the chat, so that's probably why.
You got your phone? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I love sitting back and just, letting you guys go at it, and I'm just like, how do I add fuel to this fire? It's not as fun when you guys can actually, argue back with me, so... Like,
Oh, you mean when you're not just a keyboard warrior?
yeah, no, that's my favorite thing.
Okay. Speaking of keyboard warriors.
Oh God, what did I type in on Twitter now?
No, not you. I want to talk about some Florida fans.
Oh God.
I
The
mean,
ones who educated you on how hits to the head work and leaving the feet.
well, not only that, I actually had someone tell me, and I'm going to read this verbatim.
Oh boy.
This one made me laugh. Where is it? How many normal hits will it take McAvoy to learn to keep his head up? What? What?
I don't even know if I'd call that hit normal. Because people aren't normally leading with the elbow.
There was that one, and then there was, there's another. This is all the same person. Funny you didn't mention any of the calls not called on Boston. Maybe McAvoy will learn to keep his head up when he's skating. It would never have been a headshot had he done that. Dom's trying to pretend like it's not him.
Someone hacked my YouTube and I couldn't log on.
Then I had someone say that anyone not a fan of Florida is just jealous of their 2 Stanley Cups, which I then replied with Montreal's 24. Wait. Where was it? Hold on.
Oh, at least we won them the right way too.
Hold on. Where did it go?
Oh man.
Montreal 24, Toronto 13, Detroit 11, Boston and Chicago 6, Edmonton and Pittsburgh 5. Oh yeah, we're jealous of Florida's 2.
Well, they don't know anything about those other cups. They just started becoming fans 2 years ago. So,
correct.
Also, I will say, Florida fans really cannot speak on player safety or penalties because they've never seen them called on their players before. So, where are you getting this from? Right? You see a chicken wing, and it's like, oh well, that's clean, that's fair. So,
well, I mean, I think Sam Bennett punching Brad Marchand in the head wasn't a penalty either.
Well, yeah, that was the first year that they became fans, so they didn't know.
Yeah. That, and then when Charlie Coyle, the goaltender, the phantom goaltender interference.
Yeah, I don't know. They're used to football or something. I like football or basketball or baseball or whatever
because
else.
they think it's normal for Tim McGraw to, perform during intermission. So the fact that Florida fans last night started chanting, "Refs, you suck." Are you kidding me? When they got a power play out of the hit that knocked Charlie McAvoy out.
Yeah.
But then they're...
Yep. We're getting a little bit of help. The Penguins are beating the Sabres right now. Sorry, those highlights just came on during the intermission of the I got the Florida-Tampa game on. So right now the Sabres getting beat somehow helps us.
Oh, and can we talk about Brian Boucher? Let's talk about Brian Boucher.
Oh, dear.
That man is still freaking salty from 2011.
Yeah, I'd say so. A little bit.
Was it on ESPN?
Last night's game was on HBO, TNT.
Oh, yeah.
It was on TNT.
Shocker.
So not only did Brian Boucher actually say that McAvoy could have avoided the hit, but he actually blamed McAvoy.
Yeah, didn't he say he lost his balance? So
yes.
I do like Dom's comment. Wait, you guys are talking Panther fans as in plural? When did they get more than one?
When they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, twice.
They doubled.
They went from 1 to 3 to 6.
And somehow they're all on Twitter talking shit. It's crazy.
The
Brian
wrong-
Boucher.
Brian Boucher, seriously. The fact that broadcast actually tried to blame Charlie McAvoy, and then all they did was kiss Florida's ass the entire game. Oh, well, Florida has had so many injuries. Every team has freaking injuries. Now, granted, you want to talk about Barkov and missing him for the entire season. That's something you can discuss because that is a huge loss to that franchise. You want to talk about Matthew Tkachuk. That's fine. Matthew Tkachuk played last night. Also, Paul Maurice told the players before the game, we need to treat this like a game 7. So what does that mean? They went headhunting. They also said before the game that Brad Marchand was not playing. Guess who was in the lineup?
Yeah.
Marchand. They were playing head games and going for headshots.
Well, Brian Boucher is a goalie. So
And he's still bitter from 2011.
So when he speaks, it should be about goalie related things. Everything else should probably leave it to somebody else. And I hate to be like that, but it's like you just show your ignorance when you say dumb things like that.
But
It's
see,
like-
I kind of disagree with you because Henrik Lundqvist doesn't always sound like an idiot.
And neither does
Doesn't
Kevin
always.
Weeks.
Huh?
Kevin Weeks is good too.
And neither does Andrew Raycroft.
Yeah, there's a lot of goaltenders.
There's
who
a lot of
break
goaltenders.
things down.
Even Marty Biron, when he's on,
Oh, Baron is one of my favorite guys to watch
he's
do a
good
game.
when he's doing intermission work and different stuff like that. Brian Boucher friggin' hates the Bruins from 2011 and has never let it go. He's worse than Eddie Olchuk.
I will also say too, shout out Ian Loqual. He put it best in his Sunday video. They had 3 talking points and just hammered them home every 6 minutes. Like, it was so freaking annoying. Both broadcasts. Like, they had 3 talking points on Florida or Tampa and 1 on the Bruins. And they just kept rinse, recycle, repeat, reword. Like, it was so fucking annoying. It's like, do you know anything else about anybody on the team? Like, they didn't even know the player's number. They just knew a name. Then they'd throw out their stat and they'd be like, oh, yeah, well, he's going to the Olympics. So are these other people. And then cycle through to the last stat that they skipped over.
And I'm sick about the what about us isms. Like, so who is it? Is it Carolina or Colorado? I don't know. One of the teams has like 11 players going to the Olympics.
Okay. That's what happens when you have some of the best players.
Right.
Like,
but then someone's like, well, if this person wasn't injured and this person wasn't injured and this person, then Florida would have 13. Well, they don't. So get over it. It's not about what isms.
Ian says, hot take, Kadri will be a Panther by the trade deadline. Completely disagree. They don't have a way to go get him. Also, I think Florida's more – I think they're going to sell more than people are expecting from them this year because the hill they have to get into the playoffs is just so high. There were a couple comments that I wanted to get back to from earlier, and I'm apologizing because I'm not going to go dig them all out. I know Dom mentioned a couple of the guys that were nominated in the prospect pool. I also Dom, I think, might have seen this too. We just got a response to something on Twitter. I'll read to you guys in a minute. But just in general, the prospect pool, some of the big picture items, if you will, for this Bruins organization. Let me see if I can find Dom's comment real quick, just because I want to get the award right too. And I know it was Hagen's. Hagen's was one of them.
Letourneau, one of them as well.
No, Hagen's, Gasso, Pelosi were
really
finalists for the Walter Brown Award.
Duh, it's an American award, and I just said Dean Letourneau like an idiot. Wow. Yeah, Dean Letourneau, the American. Yeah. There you go. That's how far it's been. This is how long it's been since talking Bruins.
Speaking of Hagen's, don't forget Monday you got the bean pot.
Yes. That's going to be a good one. I'm sorry to see your Northeastern get knocked out the way they did.
It
But
happens.
that was a hell of a finish, though, to that game.
Yes.
The way it went to overtime.
Yeah, but I really hate BU, so I hate BU more than I hate BC.
I mean, at least BC's got 6 Bruins you can root for.
That's why I hate BU more than I hate BC.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why I hate BU more than I hate BC.
Big picture wise, all right, because we've seen this Bruins team show that they can compete with anybody right now. As currently constructed, they can compete with anybody. It's just a matter of, are you going to win a 7-game series? What things are going to go your way? What things aren't going to go your way? You have a shot. I mean, they've even beat Colorado, so you could say in a 7-game series, they have the ability to push almost anybody to all 7 games. Fair?
I've been saying that since day one. I've been saying that since last year.
Okay, then.
Because I told you, Mark Recchi and I had the best conversation about that.
So
I still have the audio. I can play it.
You and I talked before Kenny jumped on that their number one biggest need is another right shot defenseman.
Right.
So how do you not go looking for that and try to get it? I know people were upset because they missed out on Rasmus Andersson, and whether Andersson was the right guy to go for or not, that's a whole different conversation. My question to you is, how do you not try to go and find a right shot defenseman who can help this team?
I think it depends on 1, your position, and 2, who your trade partner is and what you have to give up to get them.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to give up 5 prospects and Pavel Zacha for 1 right-handed defenseman.
True. And this, I guess, gets into Ian's question: who would you add at the trade deadline? He throws out Mackenzie Weegar. I don't know if he'd even be available. Calgary still has to get to the cap floor. But just all in all, if you're not taking anything off the roster, the NHL roster, right? And yes, I know, Dom, do you know how many teams are looking for a right shot defenseman? Exactly. But that's your biggest weakness. That's the biggest need that you have. At what point is the price too high? If you're not taking anything off the NHL roster, where do you find that balance?
No, Dom, I don't want Carlo back.
No, I don't want Carlo back either. They got off that ship just in time. And yes, Kenny, I use ship because of your hat.
Haha. Yeah, good job, Chris. I would trade Brandon Carlo for Fraser Minten, the Toronto Maple Leafs first round pick, and Vasek Blanar.
I was gonna say, you want to throw Blanar in that deal too?
Yes, that is a deal that I would do.
He comes up in the tweet that I just got back.
Everybody forgets him too. They're like, they got Fraser Minten and a first round pick, and I'm like, oh, just wait till this guy comes over from Sweden. You guys are gonna love him too.
So, before we dive into the trade stuff, because that'll take us quite some time, Dom sent out a tweet earlier. I don't know if you guys saw it. He said, before the age of 19, Vasek Blanar has represented Czechia at U14 and U19 and U20 tournaments, as well as the World Juniors U20, even though he didn't play. And then he follows it up with, I'm getting Don Zlachmelis vibes. All right. Now, the irony is like Don Zlachmelis, Vasek Blanar is set to go to UMass next year. This person then writes back, so a later round Sweeney pick that'll get overhyped for years but never actually become anything close to a real NHLer. It's been 11 drafts from rounds 3 to 7 at forward and defense. The haul has been Jacob Lauko and 1 NHL game by Brunet. Zero faith in later round Sweeney picks. How do you guys feel about some of these guys that are coming up through the pipeline that have been those later round picks? like Don Zlachmelis, like Vlasic Blanar, who we just talked about is a later round pick apparently. Pelosi, who was mentioned, like everybody knows about Letourneau and Hagens, those 2 first-round guys. What about the guys after them? How are you guys feeling about the prospect pool?
I think the Bruins are a lot deeper than a lot of people give them credit for.
Kenny, how do you think, based on those round 3 through 7, I love how they also throw out the second round, because the second round doesn't exist in the draft, apparently.
I mean, I could tell you from just watching Brunet yesterday, like he's definitely better than last year, and he's still pretty damn good last year. So he's developing pretty well. Like in the first game that I saw him play against Bridgeport in Bridgeport, I was kind of blown away as well. So that's obviously going in the right direction. I was impressed by Jake Schmaltz. He was one that really got hot earlier in the year.
You've liked Schmaltz for a while.
I have liked Schmaltz for a while. I'm thrilled that he got re-signed. Who else? Let's see. Yeah, no, I thought Lachmelis was good yesterday as well. Like, he averaged 2 points per game. It's a little difficult to beat that. And, towards the end of the year last year, who else? I'm trying to look at my, sheet here. Who else? Oh, yeah. Somebody who I wasn't blown away with was Fabian Lysell. I hope I don't get killed for saying that, but
oh, you mean he still has stuff to work on?
Well, so yesterday, he's coming down on a 3-on-2, and it's like, he's getting closer to the net. They're giving him the shot, and yet he stick handles himself out of a 3-on-1. So I wasn't really happy with that, and I was like, "Oof, that's rough." And there was a few times where it just feels like he's trying to do a little too much. So that wasn't great. Who else? Chris Pelosi's having a good season from what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing at Quinnipiac. Ellie Gronwald as well, having a good season. He's another one. I don't know if this is still the case, but he was leading the nation in plus minus for the longest time. Not that it really matters, but
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
What's that?
I was mocking a bunch of fans when I said useless stat.
When used improperly, yes. But then you've got guys like Chris Pelosi, who's not getting as much clout as some of the others. Andre Gasso, he's now back in the lineup. He's had some injuries. Oscar Jelvik as well. These are some of the guys that have been later round picks in the system for a while, and now they're finally getting set to turn pro.
I mean, people could be upset about later round picks, but like how often do 7th round picks hit? Like how often do 6th round picks hit? Like how often do you want this to work out? Like, and then they're also they're talking about players who are still in the system.
Well, they're also, Kenny, they're still bitter about 2015. Let's be realistic. So because of 2015, Don Sweeney doesn't know how to draft. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's the shittiest GM ever. All the players that they got, but they suck, blah, 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 because let's keep going back to 2015.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me that this is a Bruins show. I completely forgot that, yes, these Bruins fans don't know what they're talking about. There we go. Snap back into reality here. Yes.
Welcome back, Kenny. Welcome back.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So with these guys in the system, obviously some of them, like you said, Kenny, let's see, the guy that I hope enters the transfer portal is Beckett. Yeah, Dom, that would be good to see for him. Beckett Hendrickson still has a large amount of potential, and is someone that I hope he puts himself in a good position through the transfer portal. But some of these guys that are later round picks that are starting to develop, that we're starting to see some of this progress from. And then obviously you've got guys in Providence right now, as you saw, Kenny, yesterday. You've got guys like Liesel and Riley Duran and, Dalton Bancroft, Brett Harrison, some of these guys that are coming along. How do you not, if you're pulling from that pool, how do you not try to help this team make that playoff push?
I was actually looking at something else, and since I was wrong, I'm gonna pull Dom down with me because if I'm going under the bus, we're all going under the bus. Dom and I were wrong. I believe in Dom can say what he wants. I believe that we were wrong about Casper Nason because we were like, he should have transferred. And then look at Miami, Ohio, the season that they're having. Like, he's playing pretty well. Miami, Ohio's having a bounce back season after winning 3 games last year. So when you were mentioning 7th round picks, I was like, or late round picks, I was like, I got to check in on Casper Nason right now. So, yeah, there you go. Sorry, what was the question? I was focusing on Dom being wrong and not me being wrong.
Let's see. Oh, hold on. Timothy says maybe the Bruins need a little more PR on their prospects the way other teams do it. Follow Dom.Hockey and at Dominic Tiano on Twitter. And you'll get all the stuff that you need on the Bruins prospects. And then he says that all I hear about is how good Montreal will be. Have you watched them? It's how good they are now. That already came to fruition. Ian says you can't say 2015 more than 3 times. It's bad mojo.
Sorry, I totally screwed that up.
Dom says the Bruins have the best prospects PR around. I mean, at the end of the day, when all of your prospects suck and your GM can't draft, when you have a prospect that hits, everyone's thrilled by it. So, I mean, in some ways, Dom's not wrong. Dom says Nason went from second liner last year to third liner this year.
Well, I'm not watching, so maybe this is Dom should definitely let me know. But it seems like his production's definitely up, so that's a good thing.
Can we make 2015 like Beetlejuice?
Yeah, but what shows up if you say it 3 times fast?
I don't know. We got to
another Dom. It's a Don Sweeney sucks comment. That's what comes up.
I wish I could figure that out.
Oh man, I agree. I think the prospect pool is deeper than people give it credit for, and it's starting to show. The
problem that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny and Chris, right? The problem is that all of the prospects that people want to see, they think that they're not developed because they're not in the NHL yet, but we keep talking about who are they pushing out of the lineup. So that's part of the problem.
Well, none of them are pushing Murat Husnadinov out.
They're not pushing Fraser Minten out.
No.
Why are you winking?
Me?
Yeah, Kenny.
No, I'm just thinking about how much I love Fraser Minten. I'm just like, I need a jersey or something.
The ghost of trades past. Let me see. There, I was looking on. I think it was Puckpedia. I'm trying to pull up the list. There, to Dom's point though, there are a lot of teams looking for that right shot defenseman, and there just aren't any in the league.
Can you pull up Timothy's comment? Please.
Yes,
please,
if the Bruins won in 2019, nobody would be mentioning 2015 one way or the other. Time to move on. It's been 11 years.
Whether they won or not, it's time to move on. It's been 11 years. But I'm so every single time someone talks about the prospects, it's always, 2015.
Yeah. I'm trying
you guys want to continue, and I'll just sign off because I'm exhausted.
I mean, I didn't even realize that we were already well over an hour and a half here. So, and obviously the trade deadline stuff, as I mentioned, could go on forever. My big concern with the trade deadline is we just don't know who's available, who's actually going to be available from some of these teams that are selling.
Before we go,
yes,
let's talk about the Panarin trade.
Oh, sure.
Thoughts?
How much longer is Chris Shirley going to have a job?
I'm laughing at Ian's ghost.
Actually, that ghost might be Chris Drury in the GM chair right now in New York. And yes, Timothy, we lose track of time when we're fighting.
I mean, it got heated, Kenny. My husband even told me I was being loud. And my husband was downstairs. I'm behind closed doors.
You don't have to tell me. I'm not shocked. I believe you. Trust me. I believe it got heated. I feel like every time I'm here, it's heated. Or at least I'm in the chat. Like, you guys are arguing about something.
Yeah, you know who we missed tonight was Kevin. He would have been fun in the chat tonight.
Oh, Kevin. Yeah. Anyway, you had asked about the Panarin trade. What were your thoughts on it?
I think it's funny that every single so-called expert, he's not leaving the East Coast. He's not leaving the East Coast. Where did he go?
Oh, I think he left the East Coast.
Yeah.
Although, what I want to know is, because it sounds like Tampa was the team until the last minute. Dom says the Panarin trade was the Taylor Hall trade all over again. Yeah, in so many ways. I'm just curious what some of the other offers were. Like, it sounds like Seattle offered him multiple years at over 14 AAV. That tells you where good players think of Seattle right now. And I don't want to hear about it's because of the taxes, because he went to fucking LA.
Right.
Like,
LA has a higher tax rate. California has a higher tax rate than New York. I used to live in California.
And a higher tax rate than Washington.
Right.
So he didn't turn down Seattle for the taxes just to go to fucking California.
Right.
All right. The fact that it was only a 2-year extension, I think tells me that his camp started shopping around for that extension and went, oh crap, it's not there. Nobody wants to pay Artemi Panarin $12 million for 4 years, which is what he was looking for. And I don't think it was close. And I think his agent finally went, okay, we want the 11 AAV. How do we get there? And LA was the one who said, we'll do it for 2 years, because over this year and next year, and then the following year after that, they're going to have Doughty off the books. They'll have Kopitar off the books. They can afford to give them 11 next year with Kopitar gone. And then the year after that, both of them gone. They'll be fine against the cap. And he does help them as they try to push for the playoffs. So
right. And then depending on how things go, it's not like they can't talk an extension again.
In a year and a half, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I also wonder if he went with the 2 years, because if I'm not mistaken, and I'll double check this after the show, but Dom might even be able to correct me. I'm pretty sure Panarin has the same agent as Bobrovsky, and I'm pretty sure the two of them want to play on the same team again at some point. So Bobrovsky's going to be an interesting one to watch as he hits unrestricted free agency this year. But 2-year contract for Panarin does not restrict that, despite Bobrovsky's age. So there's still a chance he could end up down in Florida and with that team. So Ian says, I don't think he'll fit there as in LA. I mean, I think Artemi Panarin is the kind of player that can fit with any team. It's just a matter of whether or not they remain successful. But yeah, did you guys have any? Kenny, thank you so much for jumping on. I know it was a last minute thing for you.
Yeah, no, I was just doing some schoolwork and I was like, they're live. I wonder what they're arguing about now.
I didn't even get told about it, Kenny. So, I mean,
wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
Well, what happened? So
I'm just the co-host.
Wow. Not cool, Chris.
As soon as he commented in the comments, I just sent him a quick message on the side. I said, you want to just jump in?
Could have given me a heads up. That's all I'm saying.
I was meant to be a surprise. I think that's what it was. Like,
Exactly.
I was like, yes, I get to finally show off this sailor hat I have. So I was like, I'm definitely joining.
You owe her a
so happy.
There you go.
The fact that Chris drove up to my work to get that hat speaks volumes.
Great guy, Chris. He gets a pass for not telling you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we were just chatting. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get Kenny his hat. I should ask for his address. I can mail it to him. And Chris is like, oh, I'll just come up to your work. I'm like, what? Like, he drove an hour and a half to come and get your hat.
No, it was only 40 minutes.
Oh, all right. I was
It was
trying
only
to make
40 minutes.
trying to make you seem better.
I know, but that just sounds worse. Driving an hour and a half.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have it up on a shelf usually, and I just look at it and I just smile. So that's what I do with it. That's where it is. Unless I'm wearing it right now.
Okay. So you know what? I wasn't gonna. I tried to get you one, but it didn't work.
I gotta say though, that Damien Clara jersey is gonna come in handy in this Olympics for you.
Dude, I have this and I have an Italian hockey hat. It's sick. Oh, is that Frankel? Isn't she? There was some
Nice.
news. There was some news thing about her. She played in Connecticut. She's from Connecticut. I don't know what it was. She played in like the Bridgeport. I don't know if it was a stretch or something, because they stretched it with Tage Thompson too.
She's from Northeastern. She's from New York.
New York. All right, maybe she played for like Mid Fairfield or something. Because
she's from New York. She played her collegiate career at Northeastern, and she started for Team USA today.
5-1 win.
That 5-1 win. That the long goal that she gave up was a right as the penalty expired, a breakaway. It was a beautiful goal. Wish she had it though, but she only faced 13 shots.
Real quick, shout out Dom as he is heading out. Definitely give him a follow on Twitter at Dominic Tiano. And as I mentioned, Dom.Hockey. Dom, have a great night. Thanks for jumping in. We are signing off shortly ourselves, so thank you. Did either of you have any final thoughts other than thanking our viewers for the comments and questions, tuning in and such?
No, I just love the fact that everyone in hockey world has banded together in their hatred for Florida.
We all have something in common.
Yep.
We don't want Florida to win the cup again. So, again, Kenny, thank you for jumping on. You and I have to jump on and do a show soon ourselves. Our schedules have just not lined up. But with that, my last comment